Greetings and welcome, Colonists, to another episode of Let's Do a Level of Outpost 2 Divided Destiny. Right, Chapter 6, Alliances. Emma's face looked shocked as it appeared on the heads-up display of his spacesuit helmet. He decided for the first time to attempt at re-establishing contact. He'd risk a visual single. Maker, Axon, I was afraid you were dead. The cargo truck hit a pothole so deep Axon was tossed against his straps. The pain reminded him that he was still very much alive. They took craft from me, Emma, and things have happened here. I don't know if you know this, but Eden is on the move. I didn't know if you were alive either. She flashed a little smile, and it sent a flutter through him. He had missed it that much? Had he missed it that much? I can't say it has been a near thing a couple of times, Axon. We've had our problems too, but I'm at least peripherally aware of yours from satellite imagery. Although I've tried to contact you every chance I've gotten, there's never been an answer. I wish I'd had that kind of access, Emma. Even now I still have to talk to craft through your backdoor channels. That's why I'm in a pressure suit and busting my spleen bouncing around in this garbage truck. She smiled again. It's good to hear from you, Axon. It's good to talk to you too, Emma, but my time is short, and I don't know when I'll be able to talk to you again. I have to warn you about Nguyen's bug, the thing we call the Blight. I'm passing you a data file while we're talking. We know quite a bit about it already. Frost has been incredibly resourceful on the matter. He took a deep breath before continuing. Did Frost tell you the planet is doomed? Her face went dead serious. You're sure? There's maybe a 1 chance in 1,000, but we have to assume that the only real hope for survival is to build another starship and escape the planet. She nodded sadly. We suspected as much and have been acting accordingly. It's going to be a close thing, a real balancing act of resources, research, and technology. We can't just recreate the original starship that brought us here. It was a brute force project constructed with the resources of a fully developed planet behind it. We have to build smarter, faster, lighter, and higher technology across the board. He paused for another breath. This wasn't going to be easy. Emma, I don't think there are enough resources for 2 starships, or 2 starship programs. Based on what Kraft has learned, Eden has a clear technological lead. What are you saying, Axon? I want you to help hold back the Plymouth program in any way you can, and give Eden the clearest shot possible. He saw the anger in her face, though he couldn't predict how that would color her response. Is that all? Plymouth has one thing Eden needs for his program to be successful. Again he paused. Just the thought of making his teeth grind. Our human gene bank has been destroyed by terrorists. I want you to help me get the copy from Plymouth. With minimum bloodshed, of course. Oh, of course! She stared back at him. Axon, were you always this oblivious to sarcasm? Frank, if I'm gonna sell out my own people, you may be ahead on the hardware. But without the human gene bank, how do you think any colony ship has a prayer of success? And if you have terrorists running around who could do such a thing, how can you even imagine you could be trusted with the only other gene bank in existence? The people of Eden are your people too, Emma. They're all our people. Or have you forgotten that? I'm just trying to do what's best for the survival of the species. She smirked. Are you sure? Why don't you sabotage Eden's space program so Plymouth and its intact gene bank have a chance? She waited for a moment, studying him. I didn't think so. This was getting nowhere. Emma, there's an impact site about 50 kilometers east of you, where some of the wreckage from the original starship touched down. We have an expedition there now, gathering the remains of the key components so we can examine and reverse engineer them. Her eyes widened. Plymouth is sending out a convoy to do the same thing. He groaned. That's why I'm telling you, Emma. The Eden expedition is armed. Find a way to warn your people off. It's too late, Axon. They're already left. She licked her lips. They're armed too. I guess this is about to heat up in a shooting war, no matter what either of us does. He glanced out the window of the truck and saw the towering side of the ore smelter looming over him. Emma, I have to go. Think about what I said. Think about what I said, Axon. May the best colony win. Pray that somebody does. He shut down the command action just as the truck rolled onto the smelter's loading dock. He slumped back into the seat and gazed at the smelter's mottled wall as a thump indicated that the loading grapples had latched onto the trailer behind him. That ran well, and Emma didn't think he understood sarcasm. Brooke dropped his clip-com carelessly at a flat outcrop of rock and sat down beside it. He drew his knees up in front of him, leaned back against a larger boulder behind him, and settled back to watch the convict put the finishing touches on the new consumer goods factory. It was supposed to be a boost to the colony morale, but it was going to make it that much more difficult to maintain his old wheeling and dealing. Not that he had a lot of time or enthusiasm for it lately. He was busier than ever these days, and that was good. The work kept him from thinking too much, dwelling on the things he didn't understand, and possibly never would. How could Axon have killed Della? And did he? On the face of it, the evidence was pretty damning. Axon had been in the CC just before the incident occurred, and thus might have provoked the sabotage. He objected to Brooke's association with Della, and judging from her comments, she might have just made a point of coming between Axon and his beloved computer. He'd been surprised, and perhaps a little upset, when he'd run into Brooke outside the CC just before the explosion. Of course he'd been with Brooke, and thus he couldn't have been the one to set off the explosion. If it happened as Echo suggested, then there were other ways. And Axon might have had an accomplice. On the other hand, though Axon had impressed Brooke on many things, a cold-blooded casual killer wasn't one of them. But what did that mean? Would you know a killer if you met one? What does a killer look like? He didn't know. But until he found a way to resolve the matter one way or the other, his close association with Axon was over. He still provided Axon with access to vehicles and in turn to craft, but he wasn't sure if that was about doubt, courtesy, or fear. Perhaps it was simply out of the lingering belief that Axon really was trying to work for the greater good of the colony. That, for the moment, letting him continue to operate was less of a crime than stopping him. But there were doubts about that too. Though Brooke had been unconscious at the time, some witnesses put Axon on the scene where the gene bag was hijacked and destroyed. Echo had even suggested that Axon might have masterminded the heist, though Brooke couldn't imagine why. It was so hard to understand why anyone would have done it. He was always aware of his responsibility in that event, and lived in dread due to the ultimate consequences. There was talk of a raid on Plymouth to liberate that gene bag, and think as he might, the alternatives were few. How could the starship leave without it, and the Plymouthers were unlikely to just hand it over? He sighed. It was close enough to cut a quitting time, and he wasn't going to get much else done with his present mood anyway. He slid down off the rock and picked up the clipboard. His dirt scooter was parked only a few meters away. He dropped his clipcom in a small cargo box, straddled the seat, and whirled off in the direction of the structure factory, where he was supposed to meet Echo. Axon returned to his quarters and slumped wearily into his bunk. He looked around the room, sparse and undecorated. The place felt as empty as his soul. All this work, all this fighting, and what have I got to show for it? He knew the answer even as he posed the question. His work was his life, for better or worse. He had to see this thing through. And then what? Never mind that. He couldn't see the end of the current situation. Though there had to be one, in death or in triumph. It was just that right now, he felt very, very tired. He thought about zoning out, watching the intercom, but decided to check his mail first. The first item caught his immediate attention. It was from the council, a quarters reassignment. He read the text carefully, then read it again. Then he stood up so quickly he nearly bashed his head on the cupboard over the bunk. They can't do this! All thought of rest was gone. He had work to do. They'd taken Kraft, kept him out of the loop, but nothing they'd done so far compared to this. He was being exiled, and he wasn't gonna stand for it. Though both of them had their own quarters, the structure factory was still a favorite place to meet and talk. All the factory storage bays were full in anticipation of the next colony relocation, and it would shut down and quiet there. A nice trade-off for the loss of their usual mechanical floor show. It parked the scooter next to the service airlock, cycled and stowed his spacesuit in a locker, and climbed the ladder into the trans station just outside the factory. As he approached the big utilitarian doors, he noticed a symbol painted there. The circle divided by a line was a small one, only about a meter across, but still it annoyed him. Who were these people? The interior of the factory was dark and eerily quiet. His footsteps echoed off the metal walls as he climbed the long flights of stairs up the observation balcony where he were to meet. When he reached the last landing, Echo was nowhere to be seen. But there was another symbol painted on the front of the supply lock. How did they get in here? Brooke? He returned to see Echo climbing another set of stairs on the far side of the balcony. He was surprised to see that she wasn't alone. She had 2 tall men and a stocky woman with her. Brooke, these are some of the friends I've been waiting for you to meet for a long time. I hope you don't mind that I brought them along. She gestured toward the 2 men, thinner face and nose, with an equally thin mustache. This is Jacques. She indicated the other man, slightly shorter and at least twice as wide, with a round face, ruddy skin, thick lips, and a wide flat nose. This is G, and finally the woman. This is Sharon. Echo smiled at him. They're my friends, and I hope they'll be your friends too. Brooke nodded without much enthusiasm. He'd been planning to spend some time alone with Echo, and wasn't in the mood for a party. Folks, this is Brooke Panatti. I hope he's our latest recruit. Recruit? Echo, what is this all about? I thought we had a date. You have a date, Brooke. With Destiny. This is an important day. The day you're invited to join the Masters. The what? Actually, he'd heard the name in association with the graffiti, though he'd wondered if it was any more than wild talk. Echo smiled patiently. The Masters, Brooke. We're a group that believes that the reins of power in Eden are in the wrong hands, and that we've been manipulated by the legacy of the Elders for too long. We want to take Eden back, Brooke. To take our destiny back. To take our future back. It all began to sink in. You destroyed the gene bank, and you used me to get it. It was an accident, Brooke. We intended only to hold the gene bank and use it for political exchange. We never intended for anyone to get hurt. That's why we used gas. That's why you carried guns, he responded quickly, expressing more anger than he intended. We're dealing with dangerous people, Brooke, and we need to be prepared to return our deadly response if necessary. But we've never set out to kill anyone, even our enemies. G pointed at the symbol on the locker. We stand for strength, a unity of purpose. We wish to create a world of equals. Equals, she repeated. We have high ideals and work for a higher purpose. I don't blame you for being angry. We did use you to get to the gene bank. We did mislead you about the incident. Not we. I did those things. But it was for a good cause. It meant you no harm. It's just that you are a useful person, a resourceful person, and we wanted you on our side. We still do. He frowned at her. How can I join you after what you've done? The gene bank was a mistake, Brooke, but not a tragedy. We mean to use the starship to take our ideas to a new and better world. We don't need the gene bank for that. We're clones, Brooke. Clones. Or the children of clones. Though we don't think ourselves that way. We're a hand-chosen, the very best of all the races on Earth. Why should we dilute that perfection with weaker bloodlines, mongrelize it with random crossbreeding, when we can simply clone ourselves and maintain the perfection for all time? She smiled and spread her hands. Don't you see, Brooke? We're the Masters. All of us. If we only have the will. And as for joining us, you already have in a way. Her smile turned coy. The Masters have a leader, Brooke. Me. Brooke just stood there, his mouth hanging open, not sure what to say. Great Maker. What have you gotten yourself into? Yeah, indeed. Commander, we sent a convoy of scouts, cargo trucks and armed escorts to one of the sites where part of the Conestoga fell to New Terra. Our scientists have identified some crucial components we need to recover from this site. Finding them and returning them to our spaceport will allow our scientists to reverse engineer the parts and expedite our new starship construction. If the parts are not identified, then move the scouts within scanning range of all the wreckage sites. As the parts are identified, your computer display will mark their locations. Once a part is located, load it on the cargo truck and return it to the convoy starting point. Satellite information has identified several Plymouth units in the area. We do not know their intent. Be prepared for any action they might take, but remember that returning the parts intact is our top priority. Be prepared for one other threat as well. As the blight continues to spread, the atmosphere on Nuthera is thickening. High winds are generating dangerous vortexes that can destroy our fragile vehicles. Keep the vehicles away from these ominous twisters. Alright, just return 3 spacecraft parts to the convoy starting location. Alright, and this is where I actually will make a save. Because, well, it can go so badly wrong. But we have quite a few vehicles. Oh, let's get them all grouped up. And you can beat that. Alright, let's start looking around for wreckage. Now, Plymouth has come in force with some microwave lynxes and an RPG lynx, or several RPG lynxes, as well as EMP. The RPG is quite similar to the Railgun Panther, with a slight difference that the RPG is not restricted by line of sight. The RPG is, however, slightly less accurate as far as I think it works. Admittedly, though, that's a bit of a guesstimation on my part. It just seems that way.
Alert! Vortex imminent.
Alright. It looks like there's nothing here. Now, I don't really want to engage the...
Vortex detected.
Yeah, right, I do need to be a little bit careful about that. Now, as near as I can tell, the wreckage is always in the same location, but I keep forgetting where that location is, so, well, there's that. Alright, let's see if I can draw some fire.
We are under attack. Wreckage loaded.
Alright, let's get this truck out of here. Now, I'm trying to avoid too much contact with the enemy, because I don't really need it. Especially since they have a base here, but I'm probably gonna have to interact with the base in some regard. There's another vortex coming. Luckily the vortices don't stay around too long. And...
Warning. Vortex detected.
But I will want to keep my distance, because they will tear me to shreds. Right, so I'm just trying to find the patrolling ones and try to destroy those.
Enemy unit sighted.
Alright, engage.
We are under attack.
I mean, I still have superior firepower, so it should be easy enough.
Alert. Vortex imminent.
Now the RPG turrets over here, they are a little bit more difficult to deal with.
Warning. Vortex detected.
Oh crap. Now, I'm not entirely sure, but I can try. Oh, I will save again. I move my railguns to the bottom. I can probably shoot that turret.
We are under attack.
Nope.
Alert. Vortex imminent.
Well, nice try, but let's try it again. Alright, let's see if I can lure some of these enemies out here so I can kill them off. I mean, this concentration is annoying because of the EMP turret.
Alert. Vortex imminent. Warning. Vortex detected.
Oh crap. Very funny game. Alright, let's get your attention. Come on, hit it.
Alert. Vortex imminent. Alert. Vortex imminent.
That's fine. That might hurt some of him.
We are under attack. Warning.
Oh,
Vortex
crap.
detected. Vehicle destroyed. Warning.
Okay,
Vortex
bullshit. Bullshit. Stay calm. The game isn't doing that on purpose. It's just your imagination.
Alert. Vortex imminent.
Alright.
Warning. Vortex detected.
Alright, let's move a little bit closer. Let's try it again. Right, one down. Now,
We are under attack.
yeah, they do have the same range. Stand still.
Alert. Vortex imminent.
And those RPGs can really tear through things. Alright, fine. Full
Vortex
engage.
imminent. Vehicle destroyed. Warning. Vortex detected.
Move away!
Warning. Vortex detected.
Right, one less turret to deal with. I mean, it can be kind of nice if those natural disasters actually help me in some way. Alright. Don't want to lose units. I mean, that's what they're for eventually, but essentially, but it's still painful.
Alert. Vortex imminent. We are under attack. Vehicle destroyed. Warning. Vortex detected.
Alright, now you're just trolling me, game.
Alert. Vortex imminent. Warning. Vortex detected. We are under attack.
Alright. There's a couple more patrols dealt with. Any spaceship parts up here?
Alert. Vortex imminent. Warning. Vortex detected.
Alright, just double checking. Alright, well, at least we can blast our way through this.
Alert. Vortex imminent. Alert. Vortex imminent.
Right, enough with the bloody vortexes already.
Warning. Vortex detected. Warning. Vortex detected.
Yeah. Solitary microwave turrets will not stop me. As long as my vehicles are not being stupid.
Alert. Vortex imminent. We are under attack. Warning. Vortex detected.
Nothing special over there.
Alert. Vortex imminent. Enemy units sighted. We are under attack. Warning. Vortex detected. Alert. Vortex imminent.
Alright.
Warning. Vortex detected.
I'm sensing a pattern in where those vortexes are going. It's quite annoying. But, oh well. You know, at least these vehicle missions are quite easy. Ish. They're uncomplex, let's put it that way. Just your units, enemy units, and a simple goal. Alright, let's try to find if there's anything up here.
Alert. Vortex imminent.
Again, like I said, I keep
Enemy
forgetting
unit sighted.
where everything is.
Wreckage located.
Alright, we should be able to recover that. But I will want to take out this turret anyway.
Warning. Vortex detected. Warning. Vortex detected.
And then there's still the debris over here that might be in the way. And I don't think this is important. Alright, let's grab the wreckage.
Wreckage loaded.
Right. And now to make sure that it gets out of there without getting killed.
Alert. Vortex imminent. Enemy unit sighted. Warning. Vortex detected.
Alright. Anything down here that I need to see?
Vortex imminent. Enemy unit sighted.
Alright, no, don't think so. Let's leave, let's leave. Nothing going on here. Yeah, I'd rather not tangle with those,
Warning.
all those
Vortex
units.
detected.
Right. Let's just double check that this turret
Alert. Vortex imminent.
isn't going to hurt me. Then I can easily deal with the EMP turret.
We are under attack. Warning. Vortex detected. Enemy unit sighted.
And there's the last of the wreckage, good. Right, no enemy units coming over here, so let's just go and hope that none of the vortexes will get in the way.
Wreckage loaded.
Alright, go. And you lots just guard that. Right.
Alert. Vortex imminent.
That's alright.
Alert. Vortex imminent.
That could be a problem. Come on, drive faster, pedal to the metal. You can do it. I know you can do it.
Warning. Vortex detected.
Go north.
Warning.
You go north.
Vortex detected.
What, are you stuck or something? Or did I misread what that command meant? Oh, stand ground. That's not what I meant. Guards. Wrong. I clicked the wrong icon. That's not good. Oh well. And that should be mission over.
You have done well. Our colony is surviving.
And that's it for this episode. Thank you all for watching. See you all next time.